Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Grim Dawn. We are playing with a Drain Essence Death Knight. We have arrived on ultimate difficulty in hardcore mode. And we find ourselves once again in the swamps of Act 1. Last episode we hit level 82, so of course that means gear upgrades were made. And the thing we just killed was Gilius, just slightly east of the White Maya waypoint here. So next on the list will be Mr. Negan. We also have Milton Hart somewhere in the vicinity. And was this the one with the trapdoor? No, there's not. There's not enough cultists around. As I keep saying, these swamps, they tend to confuse me a bit with what is exactly where. But eventually we'll get to Burbage, and after that things will sort themselves out. And as I was speaking about occultists, here we find ourselves a trapdoor. And we can take it down. So a lot of gear upgrades were made, because level 82 is one of those thresholds where a lot of new items become available. A couple of blue items unlock at 82, and I've been gathering quite a stash, and of course last episode we had quite some nice loot drops. So in a moment I will go over the upgrades, and then I think we'll take it a little easy on the upgrades for the foreseeable future. Of course on a veteran there's going to be a tome here, but we already plundered this place a couple times, so there are no more lore books for us to discover. So Isaac's stash will now be something we can plunder with Isaac's blessing. And all the cultists are dead. So upgrades. First of all, the weapon we upgraded to last episode, well, we have one that is even better, and that is this one. The vitality and ether percentage damages are pretty off the charts. Spirit, physique and health bonuses are higher than the previous one, and in addition to +2 to essence strain, we also have +1 to spectral binding, which in turn boosts the health as well as a little bit of fixed ether damage that gets... Well, was it actually fixed or percentage? It was fixed and percentage. Ooh, double. It's a double bonus. So the fixed damage, of course, gets added to things like Reap Spirit that have a small weapon damage component. Percentage bonus is helpful for Drain Essence as well. So this is a nice one. Mythical Signet of the Damned. We picked this one up in late elite. Now we can actually equip it. Nicest thing about this one is it has a sigil of consumption. On attack, 10% chance, 5-second recharge. This one is going to be up most of the fights. It is one of my favorite occultist skills, and now we just have it available via a ring. Can't skill it up, but it triggers via the ring, and it is mythical, so the base damage is already pretty darn solid. Over 2000 vitality damage gets applied every tick, I'm assuming roughly every second, for a duration of 6 seconds in a small radius, and a third of all the damage that we inflict gets leached back as life. Against larger groups of enemies, of course, if there's multiple enemies in that circle, they will be affected and they will be granting me life, and it's gonna tick multiple times, and therefore it is very nice for sustaining health. It compensates a little bit for the Lifestealer Nova that we had on the weapon we had 2 weapons ago. Basically, but the one that we used to finish off elite difficulty. Now we have a sort of comparable lifesteal thing back. In addition, we have a nice vitality and decay bonus, some health, some offensive ability, ether and chaos resistance, and a bonus to foul eruption, which I think is not relevant because it is part of the bonuses for Ravenous Earth. We don't use that skill in this build. And as usual, Wrathstone and a Essence of Cthulhu to get some more chaos resistance. Okay, so we have that, we have the ring. Then next up, body armor. Yes. I went rummaging through the stash and I found this Cloth of Unspeakable Invocation, mythical version. +2 to Drain Essence, +2 to Decomposition, which is the damage synergy. for Drain Essence. It is very, very nice. On top, more mana energy regen than the previous one, as well as a higher percentage bonus, as well as some spirit, bonus to vitality decay, and a little bit of elemental resist. This one has it all. It's very nice. Also, more armor than what we had before. I'm coming to value armor quite a bit now. Shoulder pads, same theme as with the other ones. More armor, more resists, as well as some stats, no, some physique, some energy, offensive ability. There's quite a lot of items actually that have offensive ability. The medal, it's very simple. It's almost too simple. Small bonus to all damage, so that is helpful. Defensive ability, which is now over 2000. And then a massive bonus to poison resistance and a pretty strong bonus to elemental resistance. By itself, this amulet or this medal gives nearly 150 points of resist, because the elemental, of course, applies to all three of the elements. Bonus to pets is wasted, but well, can't always be lucky. And the Wrathstone simply helps with some resistances, because it's remarkably difficult to max out a bleeding otherwise. And then lastly, no, that actually was it. So the net result is just about everything improved. We've got more life, we've got more damage, we got quite some more damage. 6,246 damage listed in the tooltip here. Pretty darn solid. I remember that we were in the mid 4000s at the end of Elite. So in a very short time, it's nearly 50% more damage. Then on top of that, well, life went up, energy pool went up quite a bit. And therefore also the regen. Gained some armor, about 200 points. Very darn helpful. And well, the Sigil of Consumption proc, of course, is a sustain mechanism, which is not to be underestimated. Most of my resistances are now capped. They have reached the limit of 80 or 83 in case of vitality, because we have something somewhere that increases the limit a little bit. Is that the Death Ward? No, it would be typical for the Death Ward actually. Band of Eternal Haunt, +3 to max of vitality resists. One thing though is that Pierce lost some points and Chaos Resistance lost some points. And those are, well, with the exception of Ether being at 78, are the only ones that are not yet maxed. So maxed most, lost a little bit here, but I think we should be fine there. What is this one? Mythical Dementia. I think we have a lower tier version of that somewhere. Okay, that's it. Let's get out of this place. We have places to be. So now that we have plundered this place, we should of course head over to the stump, where Isaac is keeping all of his shiny loot things, and plunder the loot things. So this is my sigil. It's in the cultist tower. It's going to be confusing because the boss also uses one of those. So I should dodge both my own as well as the enemies, because you can't see which is yours. And if it sustains me, it's also going to sustain the boss, of course, when the boss uses it. So this one is not trapped. First, make a small detour. Say hello to the last of the 3 bandits, wild people. Not quite even sure what they are. People that the dude in town wants dead. Negan the Withered. Also, Gatrus the Foul. You were not there before. That's a lot of poison damage, really. It's a good thing that I'm relatively resistant and sturdy. That was a nice surprise. So those are dead. We still have to find Milton Hart. He's usually around here somewhere. And of course Isaac's place. I think we've gone past the place where Milton usually resides. So first let's go to Isaac's stash. Usually I just go to the Foggy Bank waypoint and then just stick to the this side of the water. if I remember correctly, then all the way in the end there's a very small, narrow land bridge that connects you to the place where Isaac has hidden his stuff. So the Sigil of Consumption triggers on any attack, so Blitz is likely to trigger it. Because that's usually the first one that you open up in the fight with. So it's very possible that just a random enemy nearby where you impact will trigger the Sigil. So this is the stump marked by a point on the map. And we got some XPs for it. If we didn't have the quest, I don't think we had the XP. So that is why doing it in this order is the most beneficial. And with that said, we actually can just portal over to Foggy Bank again. So if I were Milton Hart, where would I hide? Usually in one of these houses, isn't it? So we need to go back to Whitemire. I'd just like to close off the different quests. And since I've seen most of the houses, then there's not a lot of places where I could be hiding. So might as well. Now we can push forward. Yeah, see, there he is. On the main minimap, you can see it. And now on the screen, we can also see him.
That skill's not ready.
So the combination of all the different attacks that I have means that I can tear a lot of offensive ability away from enemies. So this defensive ability here, it's only gonna get virtually inflated by other things. But my offensive ability could use some help if I actually want to crit things. Mythical Dreadguard, +1 to all skills in Necromancer. +2 to Spectral Binding, +1 to Mark of Torment. This is a pretty darn nice item. If you're a summoner, Mythical Dreadguard is pretty tempting. There's a lot of things to like in here. Aspect of the Guardian I think is an Occultist upgrade for the Blood of Dreek, which is a very nice sustain skill. If you're playing a summoner, you really want this. If you're playing an Occultist Necromancer summoner, that is. Okay, so those are all the things. We might as well just go back to town and have a chat with the local folks. You are happy I killed things. I feel vindicated. Righteous. Yes. He always likes it when you say things like that. He won't go out himself, so if you're just telling him stories, he'll be very happy for it. Sister's Amulet of Life Giving. It's a bit of resists, bit of regen, bit of life. There's no Defy Death or +1 to Necromancer skills on there, so nope, that is not gonna be the thing for me. With that said, all real obligations that we have in the previous area are now gone, so we can push forward. So for Foggy Bank, we have a merchant to save. Oh wait, this is just a gathering of bugs, mosquitoes. There's 3 different heroic mosquitoes here, insofar as a mosquito could ever be really heroic. In the end, they're just a bunch of bloodsuckers. And he's not really doing all that much here. Goodbye. So standing in the middle of circles of ethereal stuff on the floor, not good for your health. But as I said before, if you got the tanking capacity, then it doesn't really matter too much. It's also by just having a little bit of passive life regeneration and some other effects that kick in when you take damage. Very helpful. So open up the door, we have a chat and loot the graves. And we can save him. You can also probably squeeze him for some coins, but I don't think this is gonna be the way to approach it. It doesn't feel honorable.
that yet.
Don't think there was all that much in the cave there. I think on lower difficulties there could be a shrine there, but on elite. The only shrine that we have left to do is in the underground transit, and that is gonna be a little while still. Ooh, Reinhardt, that's another hero. A beastly hero. You are gonna get me some more reputation and get me closer to getting the beast to Nemesis status. I think I saw a mythical void blade. Doombolt, Soleil Switchfire, that's all occultist. Pity. Definitely liking the Sigil of Consumption as an addition to this build. So I got some scrap, got some iron bits, so we can fix the bridge. Oh, there's no real reason to go down there on the higher difficulties. On normal, there's a shrine there. There's a nice golem boss to kill. Otherwise, it's just a detour. There is a room on the side that has some undead in there. Could be interesting to farm or something like that. There's also a quest that sends you there. That could be a reason to go there, but there's a waypoint close enough nearby. I think there's a waypoint here. So it's a small walk anyway.
Oh, hello, traveler.
So we will find Engram and then we'll side with Duncan. Also grab the waypoint here since we don't naturally come by. Okay. So next goal, get ourselves a merchant or blacksmith. Yeah. Blueprint, shrapnel gun. That doesn't sound like a high-end item. It's a level 62 green item. Indeed, it's not that high level. But of course, all the low-level blueprints that we unlock mean that any other blueprint we find will have a better chance of being high level. At some point, it's just gonna be through with all the low-level stuff, right? The game does have a reasonably fair system for determining the blueprint drops. It just rolls one randomly, and if you already have it, then it will roll it again. So should give you slightly better odds of getting a non-duplicate blueprint.
Move along now, stranger.
I want the hammer. Duncan needs it. It's time the hammer was passed on. So we will take very good care of it. Thank you. Goodbye. So that's why you want to grab the village outskirts waypoint. So you can just go here and give the hammer to Duncan. There you go. Want to join me? Yes. See you in town. And then I can finally craft materials again. So just say hello to our new friend. Also, we have Luther here, who is very grateful and gives us some reputation. And always just grabbing the crafting materials just out of habit. It's always nice to stack them up. And same here for Duncan. We now have ourselves a blacksmith.
Got any more scrap metal?
Maybe I should keep and put some. And then I can finally craft stuff, so I don't have to go back to elite to crafting, since that's actually what I've been doing. Every time I've been crafting and, for example, I came to the realization I need a new Wrathstone, or I need new wardstones, or anything else I needed for my gear. Actually, I had to go back to elite and then I just craft 5 of the things I wanted and put them in my stash. It's nice to be able to just craft the things I need myself now. I was gonna try and see if we can get ourselves access to the Tower of the Cultists. Because we've been doing it on all the difficulties so far, I think. Memory gets a little foggy of exactly what we've done so far since I started this series in February, if I remember correctly. It's nearly July now. But if we get ourselves a key from killing the cultist, then we're gonna go down. Otherwise, we can go back to Burbage. Actually, going to Burbage might not be too bad of an idea since we have a guaranteed key. But if we're here anyway, might as well, right? Would be a waste. Would be just a waste to get a key otherwise. So, there's a couple levels above me, 3 and 4 levels. Nothing too scary. Energy management also seems in a pretty darn good state still. Means we can potentially add some more skill points on top. Just to increase the damage further. And yeah, I can't go in here just yet, so we need a key. So there's that. So we'll just keep the point up here and then we just go to Burbage village itself. I just hope I remember that I left the waypoint there, since I don't always do it or remember that. It's very easy to just make a throwaway waypoint, go to town, something like that. And it's like, oh wait, I should have kept that for something. Oh, a double spider spawn. So we have a shielded spider and we have a Dread Widow spider. The Dread Widow seems to be the one that is dying fastest, so let's just focus on it. And then the shielded one does not follow too long after. And we got ourselves a mythical Codex of Lies. That name rings a bell, so it might be that we've caught one before. +1 to all skills in Necromancer. A lot of ether damage added to the Curse of Frailty. 95% skill disruption protection, that's also pretty nice. Good bonus to ether and chaos damage. There's energy there, there's cast speed, there's skill cooldown, energy cost reduction. 10% chance on attack to cast Mark of the Deceiver. Ether and chaos damage. Enemies lose defensive ability, they lose movement speed, and they lose ether and chaos resistance. 3-second recharge, 5-second duration. This is pretty nice. If you're playing a build that uses it, Albrecht's Ether Ray. The Curse of Frailty is Occultist. Ether Ray is Arcanist, and then of course it's supposed to be used as a Necromancer. Curious item, because I think the Ether Ray did have a mutator to convert some of the damage to chaos, hence the Ether and Chaos synergy. Curse of Frailty, however, it's just a debuff. But I wonder, by the adding of the damage, will it do it once, or is it gonna be something that is gonna trigger every second or every tick, or however you want to call it? Interesting questions. But yeah, that's one of the things I like most about the Ashes of Malmouth expansion.
I can't do that.
Aside from the Necromancer class, I really like the Necromancer class. But one of the things I like best is just the skill mutators. Most infrequent items have a lot of them, but every once in a while you got items like this Mystical Codex of Lies that do something with specific skills. That bit of tech that they added to the game, it really makes items much more interesting, since they can do so much more things now. And in that way, unique items or monster infrequents have an option to be build defining, or at least have a very strong impact on specific builds. So Grobals, they keep swarming in, which is not happy. Ooh, there is a hero in the back here, Nabinok. So let's just focus on getting Nabinok down. Hey, no running away. That's cowardly. I know you're a Grobal. Grobals are like goblins, and goblins are cowards. But still, it's not sportsmanlike to run away. Also, there's the manhunter, isn't there? Might be a city thing, but I'm gonna try once again if we find ourselves a manhunter. And always forget exactly where. I know one of the multiple entrances, I know where to find it. The other ones I don't. And oh, look at that. We are lucky. There is an entrance here. So it's not marked on the minimap. Therefore you have to just visually see it. Which is also why I'm not quite sure of the other spawn points, since I know this one and I've never really bothered to check out where the other ones could be. Since there are no wiki pages for things like that. But it's always just a nice random factor. If the entrance is here, we go after the manhunter. If not, well, there's always another difficulty or another build. So on the lower difficulties it says, be careful, this is very, very dangerous. And notice, corpse, bloody and all, should be a very fair warning. Gutworm is level 89, that makes him 7 levels above me. Be very careful indeed. There's no warning. Guess by this time you should know. And otherwise you're just going to be out of luck. Okay. So we've got a nice combination of factors here that just reduce the damage output of Gutworm. The Warcry reduces its damage, Siphon Souls reduces offensive ability, Drain Essence reduces Drain Essence uses its offensive ability. Also, first time killing the Gutworm on Ultimate, I guess, the You've Got Worms. And we got a Supreme Chest for our efforts. Which has a mythical Spirit Weave circlet. Could I be in luck? I could be if this was the one I was looking for, but it is not. So this is almost a match. Bonus to vitality damage, bonus to ether damage, vitality decay, energy regen, cast speed, vitality resistance, elemental resistance, +2 to drain essence. And then it only gives bonuses to either Arcanist or Occultist, but not to Necromancer. I think the game is maybe just slightly nudging me to play a Necromancer Occultist as a caster. Because there's just so many items that really benefit that specific class combination. But I must say, Gutworm was pretty easy. Never really felt in danger. Well, if he hit once. No, you lost about a quarter of your life, and then you regain it back pretty darn quickly. On lower difficulties, he's higher level, so comparatively he's much stronger and therefore much more dangerous. But here he's just, well. The Supreme Chest is nice though for the guaranteed blue item drop. Okay, so let's just trigger this one. It's gonna be another fight. Should be a boss near the end. Okay. And then we can end it by just picking up the document from the house. In the next episode we can go into the tower of the cultists. With not maxed out chaos resistance, that's gonna be an interesting undertaking. Let's call it that way. It's gonna be interesting. So it's a little bit of lore, but mostly it's about the cultist orders here, which we can use to confront Direni and get ourselves a guaranteed cultist key. First up, we gotta go back to town. Let's see. Bourbon. Well, if we're gonna chat with you afterwards anyway, we might as well confront Direni.
What do you want?
You're a cultist. Your life is forfeit. And then we just murderize you in a rather brutal way. And everybody else is just up standing there, completely oblivious of what I'm doing.
What's with all the commotion? I trust.
Or did I mess this one up by killing him? I think I might have messed this up by killing him. He's not really noticing the key here. Oops. Oh well.
Have you found a rift? Good work. There have been Warden Creep.
Well, he sends us after the warden. Well, there's always multiple options, of course. I'll just go back to the main menu and then go back into the game and then have a chat with the occultists that we just bloody murdered. At some point, they're gonna give up a key, and if not, I can always just try again and try again and try again. Nice thing about cultists, there's always more of them, and eventually, one of them is gonna drop a key. That's gonna be perfectly fine. But that's gonna be for next episode. For now, I'm gonna thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.